Hi everyone, today we are going to explore some concepts about print using the book Brown Bear, What Do You See? Written by Bill Martin Jr. and illustrated by Eric Carle. Before we listen to the story, let's take a look at some features of this book. First, you will notice the book has a front cover. The front cover has the title or the name of the book and also tells us the name of the person who made the story and did the pictures. The proper words for this are author and illustrator. In this case, the author is Bill Martin Jr., the illustrator is Eric Carle. And as we know, the title or the name of the book is Brown Bear, What Do You See? If I turn the book, you can see the spine. Think about your backbone. This is the backbone of the book. On the spine, we can also find the title and a shorter version of the author and illustrator's names. The spine of the book will often have a code so that it's easier to find in a library. If I turn the book to the back, you can see the back cover. The back cover of the book often has a special clue or piece of information to help us get hooked on the book or feel interested to read it. Let's see what this back cover says. The beloved classic now available in a special edition, perfect for sharing with a child. Well, that doesn't give us too much information about what's inside, but nonetheless, it makes us intrigued. You'll notice that there's an illustration on the back of the book too. Sometimes you'll see pictures on the back, sometimes you won't. Back to the front cover and review. Spine, back cover. It's important to know how to hold the book so that you turn the pages in the correct order. This is our front cover of the book. When we're ready to read it and explore, we turn the pages, opening them towards the left. When you first open a book, you'll see the inside front cover. Usually the title will be repeated, and same with the author's name and illustrator's name. There's also information about how the book was created. Remember, pages turn from right to left. Sometimes it's helpful when you start doing a new book to do a picture walk. A picture walk means you explore the illustrations inside so that you can get clues about what you'll be reading. We're going to do a picture walk now. Pictures are bold and large in this book. Notice the pictures are different from the writing. We call the writing the text. So we have text and illustration. I'm doing a picture walk right now. So far I saw a big brown bear. Now I see a red bird. That's giving me clues about what I'll be reading in just a moment. And again, the pictures are called illustrations. The writing is called text. Usually they're connected. The pictures will help give you information about what you'll be reading in the text. So remember to look at both, especially if you ever come to a word and you're stuck on it. Knowing what's in the pictures or illustrations can give you clues about words you're not sure of. Now we see an illustration of a yellow duck. And there's more text down below. And remember, when you read a book, you're always going to read the left page first and then the right page. And we always go from top to bottom. So if there's writing on top, you would read it before the writing on the bottom. In this illustration, we see a large blue horse. And look here. How would you know which to read first? This is on top, this is on the bottom, but at the same time, this text is on the left and this is on the right. We always read the left first and then move to the right. If you don't know left and right, this is a helpful trick. Hold up your hands in this position. One of these is a correct letter L, the other is not. Can you recognize the correct letter L? That stands for left, and the other one is for right. So if you're not sure left and right, try this trick to help you out. We always read left before right. We see another illustration, this time of a large green frog, and more text. And this time we see a big purple cat. Taking a look at these pictures before we read, remember, gives you lots of clues and information. Now we've got a white dog with some gray and a black sheep. I really enjoy how large these pictures are. And remember, pictures are called illustrations. Here's a goldfish, and this is a person. Maybe if we read later, we'll find out more about what this person does or what their title is. But based on the picture, it's not really possible to tell. We see lots of children on this page. And it looks like at the very end, there's a collage of all the pictures or illustrations we saw earlier in the book. Then we get to the back cover. So by doing the picture walk, I've warmed up my brain. Now I'm aware of what this book is about. Different animals in bold, beautiful colors. Let's take a look at a few more concepts about print. How do you know where to start reading? Well, as I mentioned, if you don't know left from right, try this trick. And we always start on the left. So if this is the left page, where do you think you start reading from? Here, or here, or here? How do you know which word to read first? Always go to the very top and as far left as you can. This is where you start reading on this page. This is the very first letter of the very first word. And when we read a book, we start in the top, in the left, and then we move across. When you get to the end of a line, go down to the next line and move from left to right. Go down. Move from left to right. From left to right. If you finish reading a page, move on to the next one. How do you know where to start reading on this page? Well, go to the top as far as you can where the text is, and make sure you're as far left as possible. This is the first word. It's also a single letter on its own. Move from left to right, and when you get to the end of a line, go down. From left to right. Wait, we finished 2 whole pages. Now it's time to turn the page. Without me showing you, can you point to where we start reading on this page? Can you point to the very first word I need to point to? Were you correct? Remember, on the left page, go as far to the top as you can and as far to the left as possible. Then move from left to right. And when you get to the end of a line, go down to the next one. Left to right and move down. Left to right and you're finished a page. Jump over to the next page. This time the text is closer to the bottom. Well, here's all of the text. Find the word that's closest to the top and farthest to the left. Sweep your finger from left to right and move down. Left to right and move down. Hopefully you get the hang of it, but feel free to practice this with your books of your own. Let's see. Now we know how text moves in the direction. We know how to turn pages. We know the difference between illustrations and text. I think we're ready to listen to the story. Let's go back to the front cover. Do you remember what the title of the book is? If you said, brown bear, what do you see? You're correct. There's one important thing I want to talk about before I read you the story, and that's called tracking. When you're learning to read, it's important to track with your finger very carefully. And by that, I mean each time you say one word, you touch one word. Let me show you an example of how to read the title using proper tracking and also incorrect tracking. This is what proper tracking looks like. Brown bear, what do you see? This is an example of what not to do. Brown bear, what do you see? In that second example, my finger did not match the speed of my voice. Tracking means touching one word for each word you say. Make sure you practice as I go. Anyways, let's try that one more time. Brown bear, what do you see? This is where I start reading, and I'm going to touch each word as I say it. Remember, there's also punctuation in the text, and punctuation gives clues about how to make your voice sound. We'll talk more about that in a later lesson. Just don't be confused when you see special marks that don't look like letters. They do have a purpose. Brown bear, what do you see? I see a red bird looking at me. That's a period. Period is like a very small stop sign in a book. It tells the reader when to take a breath so you don't run out of air as you're reading. Red bird, what do you see? I see a yellow duck looking at me. Yellow duck, what do you see? I see a blue horse looking at me. Hopefully you've realized now that this book has a pattern. That means some of the words repeat on every single page. For example, what do you see appears on every page. What do you see? What do you see? That's a pattern. On the opposite pages, there's another pattern. Looking at me. Looking at me. Looking at me. Patterns can help us predict what's coming next. So as you're learning to read, be on the lookout for words that repeat on each page. I notice there's only a few words changing every time I get to the next page, and they usually match the illustration. So for example, brown bear matches this illustration. And then when I move to the opposite page, it gives me a clue about what comes next. So if I forget the words, I can take a peek and then realize the missing words are red bird. Matches the illustration and then gives me a clue about what's coming next. The color and the animal. Paying attention to patterns really is a helpful reading strategy. Anyways, let's keep going. Blue horse, what do you see? I see a green frog looking at me. And remember, if you can't remember what the missing words are, take a peek on the next page and it will give you a clue. Green frog, what do you see? I see a purple cat looking at me. Purple cat, what do you see? I see a white dog looking at me. C and me rhyme. Me has one E and C has two. They sound very similar at the end, don't they? White dog, what do you see? I see a black sheep looking at me. Black sheep, what do you see? I see a goldfish looking at me. Goldfish is a compound word. There's no space in between gold and fish. That's because a compound word is where you take one word and another word that mean their own things and put them together and then poof, they have a brand new meaning. That's the one thing that didn't follow the pattern so far, because on every other page there were two new words, but here goldfish is together in one word. And remember, words have spaces on either side. So goldfish is one word because there's a space here and a space here. Goldfish, what do you see? I see a... This is tricky because we didn't figure out exactly what this picture was to give us a clue. Let's skip it for just a minute. I see a looking at me. It starts with a T, and I know T says t. I see a t, t, t. The next letter is E. T. I see a T. I think this might be a teacher. I see a teacher looking at me. Teacher, teacher, what do you see? I see children looking at me. Children, children, what do you see? We see a brown bear, a red bird, a green frog, a black sheep, a goldfish, a yellow duck, a blue horse, a purple cat, a white dog, and a teacher looking at us. That's what we see. This last page didn't follow the pattern exactly. However, it was very helpful to have the illustrations that matched the text together. Now that we've explored this book, I'm going to flip through it one more time, but turn off the volume. I'll be pointing to each word, and hopefully you can follow along and read out loud as we go. If you get stuck or need more practice, feel free to start the video over and listen again. The sound is going to go off now, and I will start pointing. See if you can read the book all on your own. free to listen to this video again so that you can practice the story on your own a few more times. Remember, it's important to read a book many times when you're first learning because the more you practice, the more fluent you become. That means your voice sounds smooth, calm, and has great expression. So that's our story for today. Hopefully, it was helpful. And remember to practice your concepts about print using books of your own as well. That is, test yourself. Can you find the front cover? Can you find the spine, the back cover? Can you flip the pages the right direction and show where reading starts and finishes on a page? And don't forget to work on your tracking. Touch one word for each word you say. We'll see you next time. Thanks.